I'm here today with Thomas Hulten, a world-renowned trombonist and jazz musician. Since moving from Europe, you've performed with acts such as Ray Charles, Barry Manilow, and Natalie Cole, just to name a few. What made you choose Houston?
It was actually my wife. She's a microbiologist, and she decided to do a postdoctoral fellowship here at the Texas Medical Center. And we were gonna stay for 1 year, and that was in 1997. And we kind of got stuck here, and since then we've had 3 little Texans, and yeah, and we really like it, like Houston.
What about the jazz culture here in Houston that allured you?
Yeah, when I moved here, what I was struck by was the quality of musicians. There are some really great musicians that probably you hear them all the time. Like if you go to Tuts or look at shows at the Hobby Center, stuff like that. A lot of those guys are great jazz musicians, and also the generosity of musicians. It wasn't really hard to get in, sort of into the scene. Everybody was really nice and helpful. And I think that's what I feel about Houston is, if you come as a new musician here, or as a musician, everybody's really prepared to help you out and refer your name and give you gigs and stuff. So it's yeah.
How would you compare it to other cities such as New Orleans or Chicago that have very rich jazz culture?
Yeah, I never lived in New Orleans or New York, but I think that the level of musicianship is, I definitely would say, is on the same level. We're not as well known maybe as New Orleans and New York, but there's definitely some really fine musicians around, and a lot of great jazz is being made in Houston.
And who are some acts that you've worked with, or some organizations that you've worked with in your past? You've been around for 4 decades now?
Yeah, I'm old. And my day job, I play with the Houston Grand Opera and the Houston Ballet in the orchestra. So I do a lot of classical music, sort of as my day job. And but I love playing jazz, and so I've been working a lot with guys around town here, and also do some teaching. I love teaching young people how to play jazz. So I've done quite a bit over at HSPVA, High School for the Performing Arts, with their jazz program, and there's some jazz camps also in town that I've been working with. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you have any unique little interesting stories of anybody you've worked with in the past?
On TV.
Wherever, whatever, recording studio.
Yeah.
After the recording.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. Now I gotta think. Yeah. Now probably I couldn't come up with a bunch. I can't think of it right now. Just on the fly. Yeah. I should probably mention Ed Gerlach. He's like the.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's some older fellows here in town that I love working with, because they're part of the history of jazz, and one guy that I really admire, he's close to 90 years old, is Ed Gerlach. He's a sax player in town. He's had a big band since I don't know when, probably in the 40s, and he's still going. I played with him about a month ago. Yeah. And he's still up there on stage, playing his saxophone and singing and leading a big band, and that's pretty impressive. And it seems like with music keeps you young. There's several older guys in town who's at that age, and they're still playing, still going at it, which I think that's really a big inspiration. Yeah.
I gotta ask this one, Thomas. Ray Charles, you got to meet Ray Charles?
Yeah. Well, usually what happens when like big acts come into town, they carry their own rhythm section, the music director, right, and they hire the rest of the orchestra locally, and usually we just do a run through. Actually, with Ray Charles, the music director, he was up there just flipping pages and say, "Oh, this one, that one. We don't need to rehearse it." So basically, we played it. We side read on the show a lot of tunes, but he was great. He was. I mean, just going out on stage, he was such a presence on stage. And then what surprised me, he's sitting there playing piano and singing, and then he holds up an alto saxophone, plays like Charlie Parker. I didn't know knew he played sax, but it was something else. It was a trip.
Great.
Being playing with him. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the Texas Jazz Masters series that you guys are working on right now currently.
Yeah, this is a project that Tierra Studios started, and they've been trying to sort of put all this rich tradition in Houston sort of a little more permanently on CDs, and so the great Larry Slazak, he's a great sax player here in town. He made the first album, and then I was asked to make the second album. They want some different instruments represented, so obviously I'm a trombone player. And then Dennis Dodson, which is a really fine trumpet player. He used to play with Woody Herman's band. He's doing the third CD in the series, and I think the plan is to make a series that really represents Houston jazz, and I think it's great also that there's a company that put all this money and effort and work into doing this, because that's not common today. Usually musicians have to they have to pay out of their own pocket and hire a studio for a day and just try to get done what they can do in a short amount of time. But Tierra really supports this and does a great job. So.
And the future of jazz here in Houston?
Oh, look! I think it looks good. There's a lot of great young musicians coming up, and if you look at the schools and the universities, some great jazz programs. U of H got two really good big bands. You got HSPVA, got a lot of other schools, and so I think it's alive and well.
Yeah. Okay, Thomas. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, and thanks for keeping it real with your trombone.
Okay, appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. You want to do cover?
Yes, and
Oh, but it makes a total fool out of
Right, you
myself.
look
no,
good.
we
That
got
was
plenty of
perfect.
B-roll. The two-shot would mess with it.
Okay.
Because I got great B-roll of him.
Oh.
What I'm gonna do, and if you all play whatever else you want to play, I'm gonna come over here and get shots from here.
Oh,
What y'all
from
just
this leg. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
gotcha.
job, man. That was an awesome
done.
game.
Oh, appreciate it.
That
Thanks,
really
man.
was.
We hadn't
Thanks.
left yet, but I'm gonna leave the mic in here, but I'm gonna put it back over here.
You done with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just gonna get cover shots
That
for
was
our
awesome.
B-roll
That was a
first.
great interview.